Mark here with Tamed Fire, and this is Fire Staff Lessons Part 6. When I was in the 6th grade, our class went on a field trip to Sonora. One of the camp teachers had a really cool walking stick. He even made mention of it when talking to our class about what kind of stick it was. He said he had made it out of a manzanita limb. I asked him if I could check it out, and he said sure. It was reddish in color and very rigid. Researching manzanita, I later found that it is indeed a very hard wood, great for a walking stick if you can find a branch that is nice and straight. That was years ago, but I always remembered the cool walking stick that guy had. Last year, around the end of September, I attended a fire artist empowerment retreat called Pyrotrania. I believe the name is now switched to the Phoenix Retreat, but I'm not 100% on that name change. At this event, I met a really cool guy named Nick who also carried a cool stick. This one was even more cool than the manzanita stick I had seen years ago. I had to have one. There was 2 selling points for me. He bent it like seen here and showed that it is extremely flexible. The second was he took it over to the asphalt and slammed it on the ground. It went bouncing in the air about 10 feet off the ground. Yeah, call me a dork. I appreciate a cool walking stick, and this burned rattan staff is one of the coolest I have found. Rattan is a vine-like species found in tropical regions. It's not 100% straight, but it's straight enough for practice, and just fun in general. Okay, back to the lesson. Starting from a forward figure 8, you take the forward head, and you trace it around the neck as seen here. This is a tracer variation that utilizes a 180 turn. And the same thing, but with the left hand. On these first 3, you'll see that I'm adding a figure 8 in between them. When you seal the movement, you can execute it continuously as seen here. This movement I like to call a armpit or shoulder roll. From a rotor you go into a wrist roll. Then the key to executing this move is to point the wrist down and aim it towards your armpit. And it'll roll right over your shoulder. You can enter the move starting from a wall plane rotor, and when you get the move down, you can do it continuously. When you catch it and you perform the wrist roll, if your hand isn't in the correct spot, you can utilize the slide as seen in previous lessons. When you get that side down, switch hands. Here's a side view to help understand. Again, if you're having trouble with the roll, the key here is to aim for the armpit. You see my fingertips and the wrist really cranking down and towards the armpit. You can stop and change direction by utilizing this stopping point. After the shoulder roll, you use your forearm, the back of your hand, wrist, and armpit to stop and change it back in the opposite direction. This concludes Fire Staff Lessons Part 6. Coming up next, Fire Bubbles.